What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni and Younes is back on the channel. Welcome back, Younes. Thank you for coming.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, I've actually had a week off because it's been internationals, and like I've explained many times before, it is not the most exciting week for me when these week comes. I'm not really a fan of the Nations League, but there were a few talking points that did happen. Obviously, France versus Spain. The second half was fantastic. The first half was just it was dead. Completely dead. Second half came to life with some fantastic goals that we saw. One of them being Karim Benzema.
Yeah, class.
That finish was brilliant. Which brings me on to the first topic, because I had this discussion with Troops.
All right.
Troops thinks that Benzema is currently the best striker in the world and should be in for a shout for the Ballon d'Or. I said, to me, Lewandowski is the best striker in the world. I'd like to know what you'd think, your opinion.
I hear that. I respect it because Benzema is class. He's consistent. He just doesn't drop. Like he's been. I think he is the not the only player, but maybe just the only striker, proper in and out striker that's been constantly nominated for the Ballon d'Or in terms of like making the 30-man list for like over 10 years now or something. It's something dumb. He's fantastic. But to win the Ballon d'Or, I think he's up there, but I don't think he wins it. I think Lewandowski wins it, because if you're basing the Ballon d'Or solely on 1 year, right, and what we've seen from last season into this season, whatever the judging of the Ballon d'Or is, Lewandowski last season killed it on another level. So I'd give it to Lewandowski. But Benzema's up there, just won't win it. That's my opinion.
I mean, with Lewandowski, I mean, I agree with you. Like, and there's also the bias of why is it always the strikers that get the attention? Because I believe that N'Golo Kante definitely deserves a shout. Jorginho rightfully has a shout this year, and looks like he could actually win it. So I'm glad to see that other positions are being considered. But another thing that did come up in that conversation was Lewandowski did break the goal scoring record. It was 41 goals in the Bundesliga that he scored. Now, the key word there that a lot of people seem to bring up is the Bundesliga. Do you think, obviously, the nature of that league makes him look better than he actually is, or do you believe that's just undeniable class that you're seeing?
No, I think that's undeniable class, because if it was the case that that league is just absolutely easy, you'd find records being broken every season then. Or you'd find other top strikers hitting those numbers. No one's hitting those numbers. Right now, we're probably looking at Haaland as the next guy to probably hit that number.
True.
But it's not everyone that walks in and starts banging in 40 goals a season. So you've got to give credit. Yes, there is a bit more space. Yes, there is, I think, a bit more for a striker to do in that league. I agree. But he's fantastic. And he doesn't just prove it in Germany. Champions League, all sorts. Internationals, he smashes it. So, no, I think his ability is just second to none, man. It's Lewandowski.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah. And we saw that at Dortmund, because I'll never forget the day where do you remember that? The four-finger celebration when we slapped 4 past Real Madrid. Listen, man, there's not many strikers in football that can say that they put 4 past Real Madrid in a single game. So big up Lewandowski, man. He's definitely my number one. Actually, yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Another question I wanted to ask you was players 21 and under, your top 3 in the world currently.
Oh, man, this is going to get me thinking. 21 and under.
Hey, listen, I was put on the spot yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I had to think deep, but it was a good question.
It's a great question, man. 21 and under. It's mad, because when you look at that age bracket, there isn't actually anyone that is shining in the same way like Messi came through, Cristiano Ronaldo came through, Mbappe or Neymar, they came through. Like they at that age they were already like, whoa, you know, like who is this guy? And right now, I feel like in that age bracket, there isn't anyone that's
Haaland is 20,
on that level.
21.
So I can only say a Haaland. I'd give Pedri a shout.
Interesting.
Pedri is someone that comes to mind, and I think, you know what, like there's a lot of work to do, but so far I like what I see, and he has potential. I think his ceiling could be high. I mean, Mbappe's young, you know, so we can throw him in. But I say Haaland. I'd say Pedri.
Mbappe is 22, so he's just out.
Yeah, he's just out.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough.
Reece is not. Tough. Reece is 21 still.
Yep.
I put Reece in there. Mason Greenwood is under 20. Phil Foden is under 21 as well.
But you know what worries me about the English lads?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's what happens to every English lad.
It's when
they start. Yeah, it's when they start smashing it at that age, they stagnate. You know, like in this country, we haven't had someone that has had so much potential and has shown so much at a young age, then get to 25 and just keep going. Like they stop eventually and they just stagnate. I remember the hype around Walcott. Do you remember the hype around Walcott?
Oh my god, yeah. Mate, when was it Sven that took him to the World Cup when he was like 15 or 16?
Yeah, 16, and he didn't even play. But everyone was like, "Oh, Walcott," and Walcott. It turned into just, Walcott. You know, Michael Owen, I feel sorry for because he had that injury that kind of wrecked him. But with English players, it's different. Like when you look elsewhere, they allow them to grow. They allow them to develop. Whereas here, I feel like they become stars at 19 and then they just plateau. So we'll wait and see, though. You're right. The names you mentioned, as long as they don't get caught up in the hype, hopefully they just keep going up.
Yeah. And it's exciting times. When you look at the youth and what you see coming through, it's exciting times. So, that's going to be a discussion for the future for sure. The second goal in the final yesterday, actually, before we move on from that.
Yeah.
Offside or not?
Controversial, isn't it? Are you asking just what I would do?
From what you saw, because did you see the VAR angles and all that?
I mean, according to the rule, it's offside.
Yeah.
If we're looking by the rule book, it's offside. But it's for me, I look at it as a half rule because he was already in an offside position once the pass had been made.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So regardless if that came off a defender or if it didn't, if the pass is made, he's in an offside position, cool. But the rule is if a pass or whatever comes off, if the last person to touch it is an opponent, you're not in an offside position anymore.
But that's my thing is I don't remember seeing the ball come off the defender. Did you see that?
I thought that it slightly did, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, man.
You throw me off. I haven't seen all the angles, to be honest. Just from what I saw, it looked like it did. So I just took that into context.
Because I know sometimes, look, if a defender gets a touch on the ball, 9 times out of 10, you see the ball kind of change its direction.
Yeah.
But this time, I'm not saying he didn't do it because you can get the slightest touch on that ball and it's not going to move it. And that could have been the case. But from what I saw, I don't think it came off the defender. So it was a bit of a controversial win for me from France. Although they did turn up. I felt sorry for Spain because I think the first half, as boring as it was their game plan. They were doing well. They kept France in their half. They were pressing that midfield. They weren't letting Pogba and Tchouaméni do anything. They weren't giving them time on the ball. Second half, I don't know whether it was the fitness situation and they couldn't keep up the press. But we saw what happened. France, they showed their class. And that's it. France are the nation's champions. the referee of that game, we will be seeing again. How he even got this final is beyond
don't
me.
know.
How this man gets games, I do not know. I cannot stand Anthony Taylor. I can call him a bald prick because, as you can see, my follicles have died over a decade ago. So the bald jokes,
Fair.
I can run them and have no guilt whatsoever. So Anthony Taylor, the bald prick, will be refereeing Brentford versus Chelsea this weekend.
Yeah.
And that is not music to my ears, your ears, or any Chelsea fans' ears, man. Flipping hell.
Mate, I didn't know up until just before we came on air and you told me, and I'm like, oh, you're kidding. Like, mate, look, I don't want him reffing the Chelsea game ever again. If we're getting it this soon, if we're getting it this soon, and bear in mind, it was a case like on social media, like there was a lot of talk about how Chelsea fans made it clear they don't want to see Anthony Taylor refereeing a Chelsea game ever again. You know, that was a big enough story that I think the FA and the Premier League must have heard it.
Yeah.
And this soon, they stick Anthony Taylor on a Chelsea game. I just tells you, they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap.
It's just, my thing is with Anthony Taylor, it's just like, I think it's gone past the Chelsea vendetta, because at first it was, this man must have a vendetta against Chelsea. But then it's like he's actually, sometimes he's making decisions and he's just drawing the attention to himself. And I think he likes it. He must love it.
He's a Mike Dean 2.0.
Yes, because without fail, we will always make a controversial decision in our games, as you know. But yeah, that game as well, that's not going to be easy. Brentford, they've had a very good start to their season, all things considered, just been promoted from the Championship. Not disrespecting the Championship, because levels have gone up over the years, it's gone up a lot. But yeah, they've come up, they're top half of the table. I think they will finish in the top half of the table at the end of the season. They beat Arsenal. They held Liverpool in a very impressive 3-3 draw.
Could have won it.
Yeah, they could have actually won it. So we have a challenge ahead of us this weekend, Younes. Obviously, we're not going to go into much details. It's only Monday and the internationals have just finished. So there's not really going to be much detail into this. Later on in the week, you'll probably get a preview from either myself, or if Younes has got time, maybe you could join us. But just briefly, let's just touch on it this weekend, Younes. What do you think to that? Do you still feel good about a victory, about 3 points this weekend?
Anthony Taylor's reffing, mate. We're losing 1-0. No, I'm kidding. I'm hopefully not. But again, it's not even a distinct, impossible feat to happen. But no, look, Brentford are playing really, really well. And right now, if you look at all the London clubs, they're second. Behind us, obviously. We're top of the league. So, But it won't be easy. It won't be easy. And Brentford are a weird side because they're super aggressive. They're super direct. They play in a very old school yet modern way. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot, but it's a lot to deal with physically. However, we should, I think, physically be able to handle them. I feel we've got a very physical side. We've got a very intense and urgent team, which I think defensively Liverpool might have let themselves down with a little bit, whereas I think we'll be a little bit more solid. It just depends if we're able to get the ball up top. If Brentford are going to sit back, are they going to try and close all those spaces out? We just need to be creative, try and get the ball to Lukaku, try and get the ball to our forward men. If we do, hopefully we get chances, we score. But it won't be easy. It won't be easy. To be honest, if it finishes a draw, I don't want to sound like I'm being mediocre here, but if it finishes a draw and it's an intense game, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. But I reckon we should win. Fingers crossed.
I think we've got enough for 3 points. I think the difference between us and Liverpool and Arsenal is like you said, defensively. In terms of dealing with like the physicality of it, we're perfect for it. Look at the personnel we've got there. We've got absolute titans there. Rocks. Rudiger loves it. Rudiger waits, like he relishes games like this. These are the games that he is born for. See what I'm saying? Thiago Silva is no pussy either. See what I'm saying? And then you've got Christensen, whose confidence is stepped up and he's winning the aerial battles, getting stuck in with the challenges. We are prepared for this, man. So I think we're going to get a good result. But like I said, we'll come on to a preview at some point in the week. One of our rivals, Manchester United, Have you seen their run of fixtures in the Premier League, Younes?
I haven't, but fill me in because you
I
sound
shall
happy.
I shall enlighten you, my friend, because these
Hit
fixtures
me.
are very, very juicy for the neutral and even more exciting for us as Chelsea fans. I never really considered United as title challengers this season anyway, but if they
Not
come
under
from
Ollie.
this unscathed, then I'm definitely going to bring them into the conversation. So,
Okay.
their first game back this Saturday will be Leicester away. The following week,
Yep.
they've got Liverpool at home. The week after
Oh.
that, they've got Spurs away. The week after that, they've got Man City at home. The week after that, they've got Watford away. The week after that, they've got us away. The week after that, they've got Arsenal at home. And the week after that, they've got Palace.
It's probably the hardest you could get.
Yeah.
They're playing everyone.
Yeah, considering what's happening at that club with Ollie and some of the losses and the draws that they've had so far,
Yeah.
this is not a good time for a run like that. This is make or break for them.
That sounds peak for them. That sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, the one saving grace they might get is the fact that Spurs and Arsenal have fallen off. you know,
Yeah, true.
maybe. Well, it seems like Arsenal are on a little bit of a bounce back, but I don't think that's going to last. If I'm honest.
Yeah, and who have they really played except Spurs, who just didn't show up? Let's have it
exactly.
right. They didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that might be their saving grace. That might be the game that they find easier that they really shouldn't. But based on the other form, yeah. But it's the hardest you could get. So it'll play right into our hands. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but if Ollie somehow has a job after that, it means either he's done a good job or the United board have just, they just
lost all touch.
Yeah, they just don't care at that point. Which brings me on to my next thing before we go. I'm not going to keep you too long. Do you think the run of games that we've had at the beginning of the season, because we've had a very difficult run of games, do you think that's benefited us going into the season? Because I always saw it as, okay, cool. Like, obviously, with the way things are set up with Tuchel off the back of the Champions League win and that, I'm thinking this is a good time to have a run of games like this. Get them out of the way in the beginning of the season, and let's just go on to the other games that, no disrespect to the other teams, but the easier games than what we've been facing.
100%. I remember even when the fixtures were released, I'd seen that we had that hard lineup at the beginning, and I was like, brilliant. Because if we can get ourselves to the top of the table or nearabouts and get quite a decent amount of points from those fixtures, fantastic. Champions League will start kicking in as it has. Other cup competitions will start kicking in. I don't know what's happening with the Club World Cup. That should be December. We don't know if that's going ahead now. But if that does happen, then we've just freed up some time for ourselves, basically, in terms of, games that we can afford to rotate in and hopefully still get 3 points in. So, yeah, man, it's brilliant. And this is the one thing, people look at our fixture list or look at others and, the terms of like Liverpool or City and the fact that we're top of the table now. But when we lost to like City, lost to Juve, there was a bit of talk of, Chelsea might not be able to keep up and whatnot. But you look at other teams and the fixtures that they've had, fairly easy. You look at ours, we've gotten big teams out of the way already. And look where we are now. We're sitting top. So happy days. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the beginning of the season, if you look at things in context, which you've just brought up perfectly, most Chelsea fans are taking this.
Yeah.
We played Man City, we played Arsenal, we played Liverpool,
Tottenham.
Yeah, we played Tottenham, and we're top of the table. Granted, we've got to play them again. A lot of those going to be away as well, so it is what it is. But I still think that it's done us a favor doing that. Last thing, actually, one more thing before you go.
Yeah.
Silly season has turned its head again, and a certain Mr. Eden Michael Hazard has been linked back to Chelsea Football Club with a sensational £45 million switch of Reece James going the other way to Real Madrid. So silly season is truly here, Younes. Would you take Eden Hazard back at Chelsea?
No.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's simple as that. That ship is sailed.
No, man. I understand it because it's Eden Hazard, but oh man, look. I saw one thing on Twitter which was hilarious, right? People that want Eden Hazard to come back are the sort of people that always run back to their exes.
Facts.
Yeah. And it's never a good idea. It's never a good idea. You know, we've had a little bit of experience of going back to something that worked in the past. Yeah. We had it with Jose. And bear in mind, he come back, he won the league, fair enough, done the League Cup, had a good Champions League run. That was all nice. But it ended horribly.
Yeah, catastrophically.
I mean, other people that have come back, Didier came back for the sole purpose of the dressing room. It wasn't even to do with on the pitch. On the pitch, he didn't have the same impact like he did before. Lampard, you know, we didn't bring him because he was a good manager. We brought him because he's a club legend, right? And that didn't end well. Let's just learn the lesson. Start looking forward. Start looking forward. Look what we've achieved without Eden Hazard. And now we're going to try and bring him back and fit him in when he'll end up becoming one of the main players, only for him to end up going again. And then we're going to have to try and restructure. No, we've moved past it. Eden's fantastic. He's a legend. We appreciate it. He's been unbelievable for us. But he's not the same man. He's not the same player. He's broken. He's not going to have the same impact. Don't do it. And Reece James the other way is even more crazy. Hell no.
Yeah,
Hell
that
no.
was ludicrous. No. When I saw Reece James to Real Madrid, I was like, yeah, this is just ridiculous. It's just
Madrid are smoking.
Yeah, it's just slow sports news, man. Someone's just looking for a story to write. That really was it. Reece James just doesn't leave Chelsea, non-negotiable. No. But Younes, thank you very much for joining in on what is actually a very slow sports day, thanks to the internationals that we've had, the UEFA Nations League. Congratulations, France, for winning that.
The Carabao Cup of internationals.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself. I'm gonna steal that one from you. Yeah,
that
one's gonna be stolen.
I stole it from someone else. So feel free.
Yeah, whoever coined that one, listen, you're a legend. But obviously, before you leave, because I forgot to do this at the beginning of the video, that's what a week off does. Like, you just forget.
Yeah, you lose the mojo.
Yeah, that's it. But I do feel fresh. I do feel ready to come back and talk about football. Looking forward to some Premier League action this weekend with Chelsea playing Brentford away with Mr. Baldy, Anthony Taylor as the manager this weekend. Hopefully, we can get the 3 points. But make sure you do like, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. And also make sure, if you haven't already, follow Younes. All the details down there in the description. Younes, big up yourself. Thanks once again for joining me back here on the channel.
No problem, my bro. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. But to everybody watching, wherever you are, be safe, man. Bless.